Black and Latino-owned small businesses feel left behind after a tough 2020. The incoming Biden administration signals a new era, a new narrative. 1.9 trillion COVID relief plan is on the table. The policy outlines a clear intention to go ahead and deploy capital to Black and Latino-owned small businesses, a segment in the small business economy. A cornerstone policy for the incoming Biden-Harris administration is to give them that money. The policy outlines a clear intention to deploy that capital to those small business owners, a segment in the small business economy that has been disproportionately impacted by the COVID-19 global pandemic. Ami Kassar is a business strategist and the CEO and founder of Multifunding, a business loan advisory firm. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Studies show that minority programs have been disproportionately impacted by the pandemic. When you talk to business owners, these minority business owners, what are you hearing on the front lines about their frustrations and their struggles to survive?
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a terrible lack of education. There's some fundamental basics. There are programs out there that they don't know they're qualified for. They're not sure where to go for, and they're not sure what information they need to put together to get there. Unfortunately, many of these problems existed before the pandemic, and they've been intensified since.
The new administration has a clear intention to deploy capital to Black and Latino-owned small businesses, businesses that were often last in line for PPP loans. How can they ensure that they can tap into this new relief?
Yeah, I think unfortunately it's going to take time. It's not something you can snap your fingers and make happen overnight. There's going to have to be feet on the street out in these communities, helping folks make sure they understand what documentation is necessary, helping them put together the documentation, putting it in really simple, and then connecting those applications to lenders who'd be happy to help. It is going to be an all-out effort, and unfortunately you can't snap your fingers and make it happen overnight.
And if you look at what happened in the past, these businesses were often at the end of the line in the government's coronavirus relief program. They couldn't find banks that would accept their applications. If they're still in business, they may be hanging on by a thread. And we're talking barbershops, restaurants, retail shops. What's your advice for them?
Go get someone to help you. Don't assume you're not qualified. Go to a local small business development center. Go to a community center. Go tap on the door of an accountant. Don't be shy to ask for help. Even as an example, there are millions of Uber drivers out there who've been affected by the pandemic, and they are independent contractors, and they are qualified to get a paycheck protection loan. Many of them don't even know that. Ask. Be patient. Don't be shy. I don't really agree with the description back in the line. Many of them never got in the line because they never knew there was a place for them in the line. So do your homework, ask questions, ask somebody for help.
Yeah, I've done stories with these business owners, and I hear their stories echo in my head, and I can hear their frustration saying, look, the PPP was meant to help underserved communities, and it didn't always happen. Will the money that we're hearing about be earmarked for our businesses by the Biden administration this go round? Will it really be available to us?
I hope so, but it's going to take additional legislation beyond March 31st. This current round of PPP expires on March 31st, and there's no way, in my opinion, that there's going to be enough time between now and March 31st to get the word out and get the education out in the streets and into the communities and get the resources or the feet on the ground there to help. So what I suspect is going to happen is that there's going to have to be additional legislation and additional help. What they did by opening up the PPP first to the minority CDFIs was nice, but that was really window dressing. That's not going to really solve the problem on the street, in my opinion.
You know, the bottom line here is the fundamental question is one of survival. Do you have words of encouragement for those minority business owners right now?
Don't give up. It's often a thin line between success and failure, and I get it. It's tough out there. Find yourself some mentors and some help and some resources to help you. Go reach out to a local small business development center and ask for help. Many people don't even know they exist. Reach out to SCORE, the Society of Retired Executives, and ask for help. Call your local SBA office and ask them, am I eligible for this program? Advocate for yourself and push for yourself, and don't give up.
And I think that's the most important thing. Like you said, you've got to ask because they're not going to come to you.
100%.
I appreciate your time, and that's certainly some good advice. Have a great day.